My name is Pat Nuss, and I was in the United States Air Force. And I decided to join the Air Force after I'd been teaching for about 6 years. I'd been teaching at Wood River, and at that time, I just felt that I needed to change and maybe wanted to, see something different, and so I applied to the Air Force and was accepted for officer school. I already had a bachelor's degree, of course, and had finished my master's in education, majoring in biology. And so I filled out the application blank, talked to a recruiter, and he said, well, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be accepted as an officer. So I did get the application in, and they sent it back saying I was accepted. And when I applied, the 3 career areas that I had chosen were education and training, administration, or personnel work because I enjoyed working with people and have been teaching and enjoyed young people, and just felt that I would be good in the training area. And unfortunately, I did not get any of those 3 career areas. What I was picked to do was I got the word back, and I was chosen as a weapons controller. And I looked at the letter of acceptance and I thought, what in the world does a weapons controller do? They told me that, said the tentative class date for you is June. However, it was like later July when I got into a class. And I reported down to Lackland Air Force Base. There's the annex that is applied to training officers, and yes, it was July, and it was extremely hot. So after I reported on July 21st, and on the 23rd of July, we were issued our clothing, and on July 26th was our first day of training. Of course, going into the barracks, it was kind of like, it's just like a big dormitory. And the rooms are very simple, very plain. And you're just in a bunk bed, and almost everybody has a roommate. And there's just a room, just 2 dressers, and then your bunk bed and a desk with 2 chairs. That's it. It's just really plain. And of course you're given just basic clothing, your uniform. This picture right here was our activity, or our PE, physical training, physical conditioning. And there was one time when the area was surrounded by thunderstorms, and so they wouldn't allow us to go outside and do our exercises. And so here we are in the hallways doing our calisthenics and everything else. But I was a member of the squadron with 2 other women. They don't allow you to walk by yourself. You have to march everywhere that you go. It's very much like a college campus, and every squadron has a specific color. And again, here's our, I was in the red. We were the Hawks of Squadron 1. And then of course there was a green group, a yellow group, and a blue. So here I am in my Combo C, the basic cotton uniform. There I am in my blues. I really liked the looks of the blue uniform. I felt very professional. I felt very much as a part of the group. That's one thing about the military. You don't have to worry about your clothing and what you could wear to work. But almost all the time we wore just our blue skirts and the light colored blouse with the tab. Keep in mind that we marched everywhere we went, and it was, we'd be outside marching, and then we'd go to class. The classes included lots of different things: military justice, history of the United States Air Force, everything about the rules and regulations that were appropriate to the defense. Yeah, we even had like speech, just everything to prepare us for a leadership role. And so you were, most of the time you'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get dressed, and then we were, whoever was flight leader for the day would pick up the rest of the group. If one of the guys was flight leader, then the men would come over and march over in the flight, pick us the girls up. There were 3 of us in our flight, and this is our flight. This is pretty much right before graduation, and like I said, our uniforms were more or less the just the blue skirt, and then the light blue cotton blouse. Then this was our first service ribbon, and then the shoulder boards designated where we were in our training, and so this is what we look like as upperclassmen, because when you first start out, you're just given the board, or the shoulder board, and it has just one tiny stripe. And then every 6 weeks you would advance, and this was my roommate. She was, her name was Leslie Cox, and she was from Hartford, Connecticut, and she was the squadron executive officer, so she has, you can tell she has wider stripes on her shoulder board. I was the postal officer. I still had a leadership role, but I wasn't as high. So, and then this lady right here was Linda Reamer. She was from Iowa. She had a high office as well. Okay, when you first start training, you learn how to march. And one of the funniest things that ever happened was everyone has to take their turn as flight leader. And it just so happened that our drill instructor decided that he was going to have Mike as our first person to be the flight leader. And so we are out on the sidewalk and on the marching pad, and our TI said, Mike, I want you to step up, and I want you to go ahead and start leading the group. And we all had to learn the basic commands and everything. So Mike was extremely nervous. All of us were just scared to death, and not knowing what to do. Anyway, it was funny because our TI thought that Mike had a little bit of confidence, so he put him in charge. Anyway, we're marching along, and of course learning how to step on the right commands and everything. And it came time for us to turn the corner, and Mike got so nervous. He was just almost speechless. He got so nervous that he ended up marching us into a brick wall at the dormitory part. And it was hilarious because he took off his hat, and you know how a lot of times people just take off their hat and throw it down. Well, he took off his hat and he threw it down, and he cussed a little bit. And what was funny was that the TI was not pleased with that at all. He chewed him out that he should never take off his hat and disrespect the uniform. And yet, at the same time, all the rest of us were just standing there, hardly, we were just laughing and felt so sorry for him because he was getting chewed out. He was so embarrassed that he had marched us into this brick wall. Anyway, we all had a little bit of fun with it, but all of us knew that you have to be prepared. You really have to be prepared when you are leading the group. One more incident that happened when we were marching is that one of the things that you do is if flight, you have a set time that you report for your meals. And so if you're assigned to go to breakfast at 6:02, then you can't arrive at the mess hall any sooner than 6:01, and you can't be any later than 6:03. So it was one day we were reporting to the mess hall for lunch, and I wasn't flight leader, I can't remember who was, but we're marching along, heading to the mess hall, and we're down the sidewalk and across the cement pad that led to the mess hall. And all of the flights would just come in and march up to the spot and come in just like parking a truck, or parking in a parking lot, pull in aside each other. And whoever was our flight leader was looking ahead and noticed that about the place that we needed to report to and to stand, there was a rattlesnake on the cement, and he was kind of coiled up, just sitting there waiting for us. And so basically, the flight leader for that day just stopped us clear out on the cement pad, several feet from the entrance to the mess hall, and very calmly marched along the side of some of the other flights and reported in and indicated to those in charge that this snake was a little bit intimidating and they didn't want to put his flight in danger. Excuse me. So it was funny because we didn't get into trouble for not being there on time that day, because they had to dispose of the snake before we could check in. But a lot of different things. We just, one thing about it that I look back is that I was in fabulous physical shape. You had to be, because you didn't have time not to, to be sore or achy or anything like that. You just kept going, because that was part of the regimen. That was part of the program, was that you learned to, just bite the bullet and go ahead and move forward. We did have areas where not only did we do a lot of marching, but these are some pictures of when we were practicing for parades. And so every Saturday morning we would have a parade that we participated in, and we would practice, and our flight would join the other three flights. There was Flight 10, Flight 12, and Flight 14 in Squadron 1. And so we would practice marching, and this was a huge parade field. And so we would all assemble, get our various squadrons lined up and everything, and then practice being in command and going through the proper steps. There was a review stand, and the review stand, they would have all of the base officers and everything like that. And there's the review stand, and so you had to give the command to, eyes right, which meant that everybody in the squadron would turn to the right and look at whoever was in the review stand. And then we'd also have to give the proper salute and hold that salute for a certain period of time. We also had chores around the dormitories, and here we are picking up anything that did not belong in the grass. We're crawling on our hands and knees and cleaning up the grass sometimes, and then we called those duties greenies, because we were cleaning up the turf. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, but at the same time it was a lot of hard work. What is really crazy too is like we were supposed to be up to bed at a certain hour, and you can see with our rooms that there were just Venetian blinds, and so if you wanted to stay up later to study or to prepare for a speech or a presentation or something like that, and it was 10 o'clock, you had to make sure that nobody else on the outside knew that your lights were on. So we would take our blankets off of our beds and hang the blankets up with masking tape to block off the light. But most of the time, you were ready for bed at 10 o'clock. You getting up at 5, and after having put in a full day of studying and learning things, you were ready for bed. But once in a while, if you had like a speech to give or something like that, it was difficult. Another thing that was always kind of fun, fun and maybe not so fun, was your dresser drawers. Of course, you had an inspection every single day, and everything you had. This is what's called a security drawer, and so all of your money and any personal things you could put in your security drawer, and there was a padlock on it. And so, because we were Squadron 1, your padlock had to be on the 1. Very picky. You can see everything had to be very clean, very neat, everything hung very precisely. So basically, you didn't have more than just one item of your personal clothing in the drawer. So like the second drawer was your underwear drawer. So you just had one article, one pair of socks, one pair of panties, because if it wasn't lined up perfectly and folded just perfectly, you got a demerit. Your shoes had to be lined up just to perfection. So all of us kept all the rest of our underwear and everything in our laundry bag, and so it got a little crazy at times. You in your closet, which was this area right here, you had your uniforms, and everything had to be in there very precisely. 2 skirts, 2 blouses, your full uniform, and you couldn't have any dirty clothes laying in the bottom of your closet or anything like that. Absolutely not. And so it was just crazy, because when you cleaned your quarters, we not only cleaned it, we would take a piece of masking tape and put it on a ruler and run the masking tape along on the floor to get all the lint and any piece of hair, anything like that off of the floor. Because if they found anything, you were given a demerit. So one time I got a demerit because my shoes weren't perfectly lined up. So it was interesting at times. Sometimes you felt like, and the same way with the bathrooms. I mean, everything in the bathroom had to be just precise. It was like a huge dormitory type bath facility. As you can see, there was no bathrooms in your room.
What would happen if you got a demerit?
Well, basically, it wasn't. It just once you were an upperclassman, you could leave after 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and so if you had any demerits at all, you were restricted to the base. You had to stay on the base, and which was good in a way, but not. I at times would take the if I didn't have any demerits, I would go ahead and take my car and drive across town to a Holiday Inn or someplace that had a swimming pool, and I would just stay there on Saturday afternoon and evening and swim and relax, because it gave you a break away from the structure and the rigidity of the military training.